Hello guys, Wes here. Welcome back to WezLife, episode 22. Just an apology in advance, really, if there's any kind of noises or anything. Recording this a bit late because I've been busy this morning, so my siblings are back home now, and it can be quite loud at times. Yeah, I'm going to keep this episode as short as possible, so let's just jump straight into it. Wes, not really been doing a lot, to be honest. I have been getting on with uni work as usual. I've been continuing with open air work. Yesterday we actually went to Bolton, which was a really great day. It was probably one of the best open airs I've been to in a long time, to be honest. It was very profitable, fruitful, I guess, and definitely going to aim to go back there some point soon. Also, I've been planning the summer and different things for the summer and stuff, so really looking forward to it. So look forward to hearing about that soon. When I can share more about it, I will do. And I'd love to tell you all about it. So should be in the next week or two. I can talk about that and share it with you guys. So that'd be good. So yeah, that's where's Wes. As I said, I'm gonna try and keep this as quick. Not really been doing anything else other than that. Right. Wes says I'm gonna keep this as short as possible, but I didn't know what I wanted to talk about, and so I just thought I'd really briefly try and share about my favourite painter, which is Vincent Van Gogh, or Van Gogh, whatever you say, Van Gogh, or whatever. I don't know how to. Well, I say Vincent Van Gogh. So if you say something else, feel free to try and tell me if you want. Yeah, I have a massive love for paintings and art in general. I absolutely love going to art galleries, art museums, even museums in general. I love going to them. And, some people, they get attracted when they go to a museum to the big fancy things or the cool looking stuff. I don't necessarily do that. I sometimes, I'll just get attracted to the really small things and the little things with the detail and stuff. And is that attention to detail? I love that, and so paintings and art is a massive one. I love the little attention to detail and stuff like that. And I don't know what it is that attracts me so much to Vincent Van Gogh, but I do love his paintings in general. I think he's a great painter, and I think I'm also not necessarily attracted to just the painting, but also the story behind it. The story as to why the painter painted it, the artist, and stuff like that, and that's what I really like. And I love the story of Vincent Van Gogh, and I've seen a few films on him, and you can watch things on YouTube, because I won't be able to do I'm not the best at explaining about him, but I can tell you a bit about him. And the story is quite a sad one, really. So, growing up, he grew up in Holland, and he wasn't the first child to be called Vincent. Actually, there was a baby before him which sadly passed away, and his mum and dad ended up naming him Vincent. And I think growing up, they kind of saw him as the second one and second best, and feel like they always, I just feel like that had an effect on him growing up. And really, his life is quite sad and tragic tragic in many ways. So growing up, you would feel a bit like second best if you were named after, and well, you already had a brother who sadly passed away and was called the same name as you. But yeah, I think he wanted to really please his dad and stuff, and his dad was I think he was a Methodist preacher, and so he actually went to school to train to be one, and I think he had different views and opinions, and I think a lot of that actually came about him not wanting to learn Latin and stuff, and I think he's saying about it being pointless. And yeah, in the end he got kicked off, or he was disqualified or something like that, and so he didn't do that, and he ended up working for his uncle. I think this might have been prior to that, actually. He worked for his uncle in an art gallery. And then later in life, he wanted to move to France to live with his brother to pursue his passion, I guess, for art. And so that's what he did. He painted a lot of different paintings, but he didn't sell any. He just wasn't selling any. He wasn't making any money. I think he was doing his best. And people just saw him as a bit of a crazy guy, and there's a lot of different things that tie into him being crazy and stuff, but yeah, like he was just bullied a lot, and it's just really sad when you read up about it and all. And, you know, he a lot of people when they think about him, they say, "Oh yeah, the guy cut off his ear," and people just think he's crazy because he cut off his ear. But when you actually learn about the whole story behind it, it's actually really upsetting. Um, and from what I gathered anyway, was he cut off his ear and he sent it to this woman who worked in a brothel. And now she worked in the brothel, but she was actually a cleaner. And this woman actually, I think she had some kind of accident or something where basically she was left scarred, like pretty badly scarred, and her face was like scarred up and stuff. And people would always like, you know, say horrible things about her and stuff, and comment on her appearance and things like that. And I think Vincent Van Gogh saw this, and as a way to kind of show that, you know, she wasn't alone, she's not the only one in this, he cut off his ear to try and say, give them something else to stare at. Do you know what I mean? Instead of them carrying on with calling her ugly, now they're on this geezer saying, "Oh man, look at him, he's crazy, he cut off his ear." And it is kind of, even though it is disturbing, I see it as quite a beautiful thing, to be honest. And that's what I've gathered from it anyway. And yeah, people did see him as a bit of an idiot. Like I said, a bit of a crackpot, crazy geezer. And he went to an asylum, and he was there for quite a few, well, I can't remember how long it was, but while he was in the asylum, that's where he actually painted some of his most well-known pictures. Now you can go and see, and especially his most, well, I would say his famous one would be Starry Night, that everyone knows. And he actually painted that from his window in this hospital asylum thing. And yeah, some of the best paintings came from that period of his life. And yeah, he wasn't noticed and stuff, and people didn't care about him, and from that, and it still is really, really sad. And yeah, later on in his life, people say that he was shot. He killed himself. That's what people would say. He killed himself. But I don't actually believe that he did kill himself. I don't believe that. And so, you can go away. There's different theories about his death and things like that. And I just don't think the evidence is there to show that he did kill himself. So if you want to go away and look at it, you can do. I don't want to get into that now because I'm not getting into all the. There's a few theories. But yeah, and then that was it. He died, and he saw nothing really. Never saw anything. But now he's left, like, he's known to be like one of the best painters. Yeah, and like throughout history, he's really well known. But he never saw any of that. He never got any fame. He didn't see anything. He didn't ever make any money. He didn't sell any paintings. And now he's got a museum in Amsterdam with loads of his paintings there and everything. He's a really well known painter. And that now, yeah, that's all gone. It is really sad. But I just love him. I love his work, and I love the story behind him. You know, I've not done a great job at explaining it all, but if you want to go away, there's loads of details and stuff about him. It's great. It's really interesting to look into him. I encourage you to do that. So that's where it says, like I said, I'm keeping it short. Just telling you about him. I love him, and that's my opinion on him. Right, let's jump into now the Q&A with Wes and a Fez. I'll get the Fez right now and put it on. Right, got the Fez on. Here we go. It's right next to me. I was ready today. Let's look. Right, first question. This has been left by James Dean. Now, James Dean, I don't know anyone called James Dean. I don't know if this is a made-up name or what. But if your name is James Dean, thank you very much for submitting this question. And it says, we live in a world that is so divided. We've got Brexit and other stuff going on. Where can we find unity, and how can Christians engage in politics? Well, you know what? My views on politics and stuff like that have changed within the last year or so. I used to not care. I wasn't bothered about any of it all and stuff like that. But now I feel like I'm going to be trying to get someone else on this podcast, hopefully soon, who studies politics and he's a Christian, and he'll be able to share his point of view, and that'll probably be helpful. But I think as a Christian, we should be, even just as a person in general, if we are going to be voting in this country, I think we should be voting for the best interests of this country. Not just for the best things that interest us, the things that will benefit us and our own selfish kind of desires or needs, but as the country in general. That's the way we should be voting. We should be looking to vote for the country. And I feel like if people did that in mind, we'd be able to find a lot more unity between people. And we should, even in the church, we should be doing things for not necessarily our things that suit us, but we should be doing it for the best intentions for the church. And I feel like if we did that, there'd be so much more unity in the church. But we could continue to argue what we think is the best thing. Other people have their party membership, whatever. I've found in a church where you could be in a room with quite a lot of different Christians, and there'd be about 3 or 4 different opinions on what is the best political party to go with. And I think as a Christian, we should be looking at what is the best option to go with that, is kind of in line with biblical viewpoints, I think. Because even though there's not a strong party that has this biblical viewpoint in a sense, they're all pretty bad in that regards. But there's some that are worse than others. And now if we just did nothing about it, we sat back and relaxed, then what? We've not done anything there. But if we all come together and we try and look at which one would be the better option, that is good. I don't think we should necessarily just sit back and relax and do nothing about it, because that is my old viewpoint would be that whatever happens, happens. But I think we should use our voice and we should try our best to try and make a difference in that regards. But yeah, I hope that's some answer to what it is. But yeah, I'm not the best on political things and stuff like that. But hopefully in the future it can be discussed better. But yeah, thanks for that question. Right, the next one, no response, but this is probably someone on a uni course, because it says, what do you think of the fact that we have Mark as our tutor now, even though we all complained about him to our other tutor? A bit of background for this. We, on our uni course, our tutor, we moaned about one of the other teachers, and we said we didn't like him, and it wasn't just because we had some personal vendetta against him or anything. It wasn't anything like that. Just his teaching. We weren't getting a lot out of his teaching, and so we kept raising this up. Nothing was being done. But now, that's all over with, and now he's our new tutor. And so I feel like in a way we were all behind his back complaining about him, and now he's our tutor, so he's the one we go to with our problems. How do I feel about that? Well, first off, it's a bit sad that we lost our old tutor, but Mark's in general a pretty sound guy, so if he's our tutor, I don't mind that, because he's not actually teaching us now. So the fact that he's not teaching means that we don't actually complain to him about him. So yeah, I don't really mind. But if he was still teaching us, then I would be complaining about him, I guess. Never mind. Thanks whoever sent that. Right, last question. I know we've not got many this today. It's from Johnny Richardson. It says, if you had a time machine like the TARDIS, and you can move location and all that and stuff. Well, yeah, time machine. Where and when would you go? Well, I've thought about this, and I would absolutely love to go back to the 1930s, 40s, and I'd just like to go into some jazz club and just sit down, relax, and listen to that old music, because I love that kind of music, and I love the older jazzy music from the late 30s, 40s and stuff. That's the only thing that comes to mind. I'd just love to do that. don't know. Yeah, maybe in America or something like that, just in a jazz club. Hope that's a good answer for you. Where would you go, Johnny? Yeah, thanks for that question. Right, that is the end of Wes and a Fez. Let's take this Fez off now. Put it back on the shelf. Right, wise words with Wes. I am going to link this to what I was saying with Wes says. So about the life of Vincent Van Gogh. He did have a really sad life, I guess, and it was depressing. But he left behind so much. It's like, it was almost like a legacy. And I'm linking this now with the Christian. Now you hear stories about people who have been faithful. They were faithful throughout their whole lives, but they didn't see anything. And then after they passed away, then there was all this big story or whatever. In our lives, we may not see the full effect of what we're doing. So as a Christian, if we are being faithful, we're sharing the gospel, we're evangelizing, we're doing things, we're being faithful, continuing to serve in our church and things like that. We may never see anything from that, but we've got to stay faithful. We've got to continue with that, because you never know. There is people who have come to know God through the work of someone being, continuing like that after year and year and years, whatever. And then only later on in life, they've come forward and said, oh yeah, I was saved through this and whatever. There's a guy, I can't remember the country, I wish I'd have looked into this now actually, but he was continuing to share the gospel there for years and years and years, and then he died. But later on now, he's well known over there, and everyone respects him, everything. So many people became saved, and he actually translated the Bible into that language and stuff. And so I think my wise words would be to you, don't give up, just continue to run the race. And one day we probably will see the whole effects of it, and God's going to bless us for continuing to stay faithful for him. So yeah, look at the life of Vincent Van Gogh, and so some people say he was Christian and stuff like that. I don't actually know if he was saved. I'd like to hope. Well, yeah, I'd like to think he was. There's definitely a lot of aspects in his life that show that he was. I don't know. Maybe one day we will see him in glory. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Hopefully this has been a lot shorter than normal. Hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you have a good day. But yeah, see you later.